Brought out the pink Lamborghini, just a race with China. What the race to China? Just a race in China. Little bad Trini bitch, but she mixed with China.
All right, we are recording. All right, what's up, everybody? It's your girl. Welcome to China, and welcome to my channel. And today, y'all, we are going ahead and we are taking a diva dive. As y'all know, when we go ahead and take a topic and the divas dive into it. So I have a very wonderful diva here, a queen to be exact.
Hey,
Miss Queen MaShae. Go ahead and introduce yourself, girl.
hey everybody. So I'm Queen MaShae. I'm from Detroit. I'm a singer, songwriter, event organizer. I do some production, all those fun things. So I'm just kind of working with the local, music scene in Detroit, just trying to create different opportunities for myself as well as other artists. But yeah, I mean, I'm known for big money showcases. I give away large cash prizes. That's kind of my thing. And
I will say I did. That's how I met you officially. Like, we were in the same school district area, but I did do one of her competitions when I was rapping, and it was definitely so fun. So that was something why I wanted you on here, because I admired you doing that, and it was definitely a bunch of men up in there, and you was holding it down.
Yeah. So, which can be a lot.
Can definitely be a lot. So y'all, this is MaShae. I'm so happy to have her here. I got her tagged down. Make sure you all support her and what she's doing. She's constantly doing things, and she got more stuff coming up, and we'll explain that at the end. So the reason why we're having this conversation, y'all, is because I want to talk about women in male dominated industries. So this is really women working in spaces where it's a lot of men. Long story short. So MaShae and I, we do entertainment. I rap, she sings, she does so many musical things. I'm not going to just circuit it into that. And then also, I dove into politics, and it's a lot of things where it is women in these spaces, but it's not a lot. Mm-hmm. So, MaShae, I want to go ahead and show you this article that I was looking at on Catalyst. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and I'm just going to go ahead and share some of the statistics about women being in male-dominated industries. So I'm just going to go through this briefly. So this is as of February 2020, so about a year ago. And this is Catalyst. It's about workplaces for women, So male-dominated occupation are those comprised of 25% of fewer women. Male-dominated industries and occupations are particularly vulnerable in reinforcing masculine stereotypes that are even more difficult for women to excel. In the U.S., 7.2 women work full-time in male-dominated occupations. So again, y'all, we do entertainment. It's a little bit different. A lot of these women we're going to be talking about are women who are on their feet, women who are engineers, women who are doing, a lot of work, hands-on work, but also in different spaces, it's a lot of men. So we're going to be covering all of this. But women face challenges working in male-dominated cultures, obviously societal, persuasive, things of a caring mother, housekeeper. Women always have to take care of things. Mm-hmm. Higher stress, anxiety compared to women working in others fields. When it's a lot of men in different spaces. And keep in mind, I love men. MaShae, I'm not going to speak for you, but I'm not a man hater at all.
Neither am I.
So, this is just an interesting conversation to have, because this is something I don't talk about. And then obviously, y'all, trigger warning for this. We're going to be talking about SA, but reports of that, I'm not going to read through this, but that has been obviously a big issue within women in male-dominated spaces. So we're going to start with that. So with that being said, how do you feel about that? What I just read to you? Any thoughts or?
I mean, it's just, honestly, I feel like the world is a male-dominated space, even just those statistics is just everything, really. Every space you step in, we have to.
That's real. Mm-hmm. That's real. I watch Kevin Samuels quite a lot, more than I should, and he always talk about men creating the world and building those things, and really how women maneuver in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take us into our first hot topic that we're going to talk about within this is, what is our workplace culture like? What is it like being someone in entertainment, someone who does outreach, someone who does things with the community, specifically, and you do music, you do with a lot of artists, Detroit artists. It's a huge music scene in Detroit. Love the Detroit music scene. So I would love for you to kind of touch on that. What is your workplace dynamic like? I'm assuming that it's a lot of men in there, but I want to hear kind of what it's like for you.
It's definitely a lot of men. Even just my reach is mostly men. My analytics on Instagram, 78% of my followers is men. So lots.
That's 70. That's a lot. I was at like 60 and I was like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, 78%. Everything that I do is men. Everybody that I deal with, the people I'm running venues from, the DJs that I'm hiring, like everything that has to do with anything is men. Most of the time when I'm throwing shows, there's usually not a lot of girls on my shows. You know, like at most I might have 4. You know, like I don't usually have a lot of. I think even the show you did, it wasn't really any women.
It was like you was picking out. If it was one girl, they was everywhere. Yeah, everybody be there. So, yep, for sure.
Just always dealing with men. And I feel like the issue that I have sometimes just being like a girl in the space that I'm in and doing the work that I'm doing is just watching other people that like men that do the things that I'm doing or, you know, kind of in the same field get more respect. I watch people get credit for my events. Like men, they assume that the man in the building is the person that's organizing it because they're a man, which is very offensive.
Very.
Because I work very hard.
You do a lot, you know what I'm saying, for all of that, yeah.
Yeah, assume like, oh, it must be a man behind her. No, there's not, but okay. And even just what people are willing to do. So like when I'm like, if I charge like competition fees and stuff, they're willing to pay men before they're willing to pay me. They will pay men more for less and argue with me about things. Like, and I even feel like that's also a thing. Like people will argue with me about how I run certain things, but I know they don't do that to the men in the same field.
People know in the circles, like you know how somebody's coming and how people, you know, even before you approach certain people, like you still like do research on a person, like you can tell how other people are coming, you know, and then how they approach you different. You see it, like you're not silly,
blatantly. You know, blatantly. So just the respect level, like people are more willing to just have a problem with me, even at shows, at events, if they're gonna complain about something that's going on, or they'll like demand certain things, and I'm like, you would never do this to a man. You would never talk to a man this way, but you think you can talk to me this way because I'm a girl. That's what it is. So yeah, definitely, it's a tough thing, and it's an ongoing struggle in the field for sure.
Wow. And I told you before this, I'm like, if it was anybody who would experience this, I know it would be perfect to talk to you about it, but I had no idea even to the extent of people paying you or people giving credit. You know, I never even thought about these. So I'm like, you know, it's your event, it's yours, but, you know, people would assume they probably are one of the rappers at the event who waiting to get his check thinking like, hey, man, he's like, you know, this has something to do with me. So to piggyback off of that, you know, how do you deal with that? So obviously, like you're not a pushover. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. So how do you like approach it? You know, obviously you're gonna say. So the issue when somebody took credit or gave credit to someone else, did you say something then, or kind of how do you maneuver for people not to be like, you're a bitch? What are you doing?
Yeah, and you know, I actually even with the you're a bitch thing, I feel like that is kind of the space that I get put in. I have to be a bitch, unfortunately, but they would walk all over me if I let them, you know. I said something because I work too hard. You're not going to take credit. You're not going to give some man credit for what I put my time into. So I definitely said something in this experience, like that specific event. The guy posted a picture afterwards and he tagged the dude and then added me as the host. And I was like, no, I DM'd him like, absolutely not.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. And he put it out and just posted. Oh my God. Oh yeah, my Lord.
For the event, and shout out to Queen for hosting. And I'm like, I'm not a host.
Oh, I said this is my thing, and I'm hosting, and I'm running, and I'm doing everything.
Yeah, so I definitely said something. He apologized. He changed the caption and all of that. And it's like, it's kind of like when we tell the stories, like those little riddles where they're like, the doctor, this and that, and people assume that the doctor's a man.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he didn't intend to be an asshole. Like, I don't think they intend to. They just automatically feel like something great has to be ran by a man. It's just in them. It's innate.
And assume, like you say, he, or like you refer to things of just you never know, and then it's my doctor's a woman. You know, something like my doctor's a woman.
So, yeah, stuff like that. So it's like he apologized. He was trying to be rude. He really just
So, all right. I would have definitely said something too. That's why we wanted to know, like, yo, like, how do you like handle things? But it's good to nip those things in the bud because people will learn and people are respectful. Some people are respectful, but it's a give and take, especially in the space because again, it's not, we're assuming that things were like this. It's not like it's a bunch of women who do all music and are in this industry, and then somebody calls you, says it's a man that's hosting. It's barely any of us in the industry really, like, trend setting and doing what you're doing, especially putting shows together and things like that, and dealing with a lot of men. So I can definitely see how people have that knee-jerk reaction to assume, but still we have to kind of stop that narrative. Yeah. So, all right. What else we got here? We have, is it easier or more difficult for women to succeed in entertainment? So, putting all aspects together of the good and bad, but when we get on there, we put on our boots, our makeup, we got our hair done, we looking good, we feeling good, we rocking it, we show ready, and then also we're running shit as well. All of that in consideration. Do you feel like it's easier or more difficult doing what you're doing, being a woman as well, and having that womanly energy as well?
I'm gonna say difficult for sure. I say that there are like occasional pros, but the cons are so bad that you can't really like outweigh it with the pros. So yeah, I would definitely say it's more difficult. I think we're looked over, and I feel like they just belittle the talent a bit because they're too focused on other things. Even like I know you rap, but like people will assume that a woman is a singer.
They assumed that when I was at your show that I was a singer.
Yeah, and to me, again, that's kind of like my doctor is a woman thing. Like you meet a girl and she says she does music, and you assume she's a singer. What's up?
Yeah, yeah. That's so funny you say that, and it's like you're so used to hearing it that it's not like when I hear things like that, I'm like, oh my god, or you're like, oh my god, it'd be like it's another thing or another assumption someone's making. But do you ever have the thought to like stop, or did it ever get hard where you're like, is this like in the forefront for you? I know this is a specific thing we're talking about today, but does it affect you?
Yeah. To a certain extent, for sure. I went to an event one time with one of the radio stations, and when I got there, the guy, like one of the guys that was hosting or whatever, he like walked over like, I don't even want to hear your music. I just want to take you on a date. And I was like, I'm kind of getting tired of this because like
this is so
open. I didn't even perform yet. You don't even know what I sound like. I could be the
trash. That could be embarrassing. You could embarrass them. You don't know.
Yeah, I could be trash. I could be amazing. You just automatically said, fuck your music. I want to take you out. Fuck my music. Like, it was just so discouraging. And like for them to be like radio station DJs, it was like, wow. That, like I don't even.
Once you get the radio, you interacting, you meeting people, you doing your thing, working your way, because that's a lot of what we do in entertainment is a lot of smoozing. It's a lot of it's a lot of that. You have to got to interact. It's not, you can't talk to nobody. But that's so disheartening though to have someone still it's not the flattery. That's not even there anymore. It's like, okay, I don't want to date you.
I want the opportunity that I came here to compete for. That's what I want.
And it's exciting, and especially like having opportunities for people who do not know. Like the Detroit music industry is huge, and we have a lot of big radio stations, and you get a lot of push and a lot of exposure. So like that's a big deal, And you came there ready, and people. So play it out. Tell us a little bit more. You got to take us through it a little more.
Okay. Well, he said that I ended up performing, but I kind of just left right after because I was like, this is just stupid. They ended up calling me. So a couple weeks later, I started doing a whole bunch of performances and stuff. I like got on like 107.5, reported from the D. So I started doing interviews and stuff like that. And then they called me, the other radio station called me like, hey, you should come out to the event and perform. And in my head, I'm like, I was just at your event. Y'all said, fuck me because you wanted to date me, but okay. So I actually did go back, like against my better judgment, because I'm like, whatever, you just have to do what you have to do. So I went back, and when I got there, the dude gets on the microphone. There's probably like 100 people there or something like that. He gets on the mic and he's like, Queen, you never DM'd me back. We supposed to be going on a date, and I just left. I didn't even perform or anything. I was like, I don't even care.
I cannot. Are you serious? He did a follow-up again.
Follow-up on the mic in front of everybody. So I'm like, if they give me anything, people are gonna be like, she slept with somebody for this, So I was just like, leave. I don't even want it anymore.
The audacity. It's funny because I was just watching that Sweetie and respectfully Justin LaBoy, you know what I'm talking about? And everybody was on Sweetie's ass about it. Well, obviously her exes were there, whatever. And they
Yeah.
was talking about like her attitude and things like that. But it's like, it's like it's gonna be points in time where we're getting paid like actual change in dollars for real to like sit and have people just constantly, it's like what do we do? It's like you're gonna come off this way, it's like okay, we walk away, we have respect for ourselves, people
Yeah.
will look at us some type of way, or again you can continue to, okay, so let's say hypothetically you start messing with the DJ, sleeping with the DJ, people do it, I'm not gonna knock people hustle, whatever, not your trajectory I'm assuming that you want for yourself, obviously, but it's like you didn't work for it. Okay, he'll go play and have you, but it's like he go keep trying to tease you and talk to
Yeah.
you, so that's just,
I mean, it was already fucking my music, so.
yeah, that's so crazy. And the music that you sit and work hard for, and my music that I do everything for, and the reason why I'm here,
Yeah, and the reason why you called me back, the reason why your coworkers called me back,
because they knew, and then he came.
and then he did it.
That's sour mother. Never again, never again. And that's what I'm saying. And then like things like that still subconsciously mess with us. So it always is going to be like the DJ gonna say something, or who gonna say something, or
Especially like you said, like we get dressed and we go try to look nice for our performances. Like, yes, I might look nice for my performance, but I'm not looking nice because I'm trying to meet men. I'm looking nice because I'm trying to meet myself as an
to
artist.
outwardly put out to look polished and to be a person.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It'd be definitely a give and take. So we did a little of the negatives. So what are some positive things though about being a woman? Because I feel like it's still innovative. People still are drawn toward it. So I know that was something that drawn me towards it as a woman. Probably the 1 through 5% of women that do showcases and things like that. But what are some of the pros and the things that people do love about it, and you still great outcomes? So gloat for a minute about some of those things.
I think that the thing about being a woman in the industry is just and it's still kind of a con, but like men like women, so they're gonna want to work with you. I get paid for features, and they probably don't even want features. They just want to be around. Like sometimes, like I've had guys pay for slots on my showcase. Like I've been able to give away free slots because I've had guys pay for slots on the show to say they're supporting me and like don't want to perform. Like, I don't want to perform. I just want you to take this, So, like, it's still weird, creepy stuff. But, like, guys are going to come out. They're going to support. They're going to be like, oh, I want to see you tonight. I'm going to come to your show. So, the sex appeal thing is the pro and a con. But it definitely makes a difference. Just like with, my numbers, like the things I'm able to give away and stuff like that. It helps. They're still creepy, but it helps.
Yeah, it is. It's funny you said that because I'm like, that's so funny. They just be wanting to get close, and you'd be like, the desperation of some motherfuckers. Because I'm just like, who would ever? I cannot fathom not being in a showcase and sending some damn money to somebody else. Think about it, it's like as I'm doing my own.
Mm-hmm. Like even the feature thing, like I've had people pay for features, and I no longer do in-person features. People have to send me open verses so I can send them back. Because I've had people pay for features, and when I get there to record the song, they're just like trying to talk, like. What?
And what's funny, because it's like, okay, so like I've like moved around, and like when you start to like dabble in back and have to do studios and do all that stuff, if you don't have a setup per se, or want them to like master it, whatever, and you got to deal with people, it's like people bring like friends, some people like no friends, it's Corona, so you can't bring friends, but it's like things like that. Like I don't want to necessarily be that person and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go bring somebody with me or bring your man with you, but you like have to, because people really try it, and like unless you're like even in big stews, we can be dropping LA right now. Motherfuckers still gonna try it.
Yeah, they try it in every way. Like even when I go to like, sometimes if people don't have like certain like cash like apps or whatever, a PayPal or whatever the fuck, they will have me like pick up the money, and I'm cool with that. Like I try to make it as convenient for everyone as I can, but I always have to like go get one of my guy friends. Like, hey, I'll buy you some food. Come ride with me, because I can't go places by myself. So it's like I have to be like that. And I got to the point where I was like, I have to take people with me to do my features. But now I'm just like, I'm not going.
Yeah. If you're serious enough, you can record it and send it to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
it's wild.
When I pulled up, and then once it was the last dude, he did not have anything written. He didn't have a beat. He's like, well, we could look for some beats. So how old are you? I'm like, we're done. We're not gonna do this anymore. I'm done. So.
Oh my goodness. So let's talk about the safety aspect of different things and being women in these spaces. So I'll talk about like politics, for example. So like everyone knows that like I left Michigan to go work with Bernie. So we're very like liberal people, and people would assume that in politics and things like that trajectory is like easier or like more accepting, but it's like almost crazy like how many times like bosses, like people who are like coworkers and things like that will like try you. Like I had a coworker try me, try to push me in a closet, try to like kiss me, like all types of stuff. Like guys will definitely try like all types of stuff, and like you can like laugh it off and be like, no, like stop, whatever. But I always still feel like I can stand up for myself. I feel like it's never been a situation where I haven't been able to, and God forbid, it's very unfortunate, and I'd be scared to go do a lot of things by myself. But like that's why I wonder, like especially like doing like music and being in like the industry and doing entertainment, do you ever feel like unsafe, or like what do you do to protect yourself, or if women do entertainment, whether they're just an artist, singing, rapping, whatever, like how do you kind of maneuver with that?
It's definitely dangerous, like just period. I mean, being a woman and living is dangerous. But yeah, I mean, like I said, with like just having to be around men or pull up in certain situations, because it's like I don't want to not work and I don't want to miss out on opportunities, but at the same time I have to think about my safety. At the end of the day, I'm 5'4", I don't got no weapons. I can't just be out here moving around like everything's okay, because it's not. Like I said, for the most part, I will bring my friends with me. Like, luckily, my guy friends, like, they'll make time to go ride with me to do certain things. But it's really not much respect for us. It's very dangerous. And then, as well as just the like manipulation standpoint, there are people that are going to be like, oh, I'll help you with this, or I'll put you on, or this and that if you sleep with me. Like, that is happening in the industry, but it's still happening in the local scene
Everywhere. Everywhere. It's funny. So I did the Finesse Queen video, and I shot it at a hookah lounge, and the guy thought that he was going to get sex in return. So he blocked me. He took me off Snapchat, everything. I didn't send him the video, obviously, because I'm like, forget it. But I'm like, you really let us come here and do all of this because you thought that you would get something out of it.
That's so horrible.
And like and that was something that I worked hard for. I was excited, and I'm just like, you didn't do this because I hit you up and because it was a connection or something for me to get a nice lounge. You just doing this because you thought you would get something out of it, and then you're going to get upset at me after.
Right.
And it makes you not want to connect. It makes you not want to work with certain people. It makes you want to it does. And we push through it. We're still going to do what we're going to quit, but it's like those things still make you jaded. They still like affect you. Mm-hmm. And the aspect of like people just being I question, like I know people still do that, but it's crazy to me that men are still doing that people are still being disrespectful, and it's just
yeah, it sucks. It really does, especially like even just you saying like it makes you not want to connect. Like I feel like I was like very, I guess I'll say friendly. Like I was very friendly when I first started. Mm-hmm. Now I'm just like to myself, like, you can send me something if you want to work, but like I don't want to meet anybody new. I don't want to hang out with anybody new. Like it was just like too many bad situations. Like it's just not safe. It's not worth it. And people will expect things from you, or try to push you into a certain way to do things for them. Like, no. That's okay. I always keep my friends I grew up with. Okay.
Yeah, I feel that. So you say you have like friends and certain friends that you can like rely on that are like men, obviously. So how do those? So these are people. Is it any new people? Like, is it out of all bad seeds? Do you find people who are serious and that can? I guess my biggest question is is it men out there still who are able to control themselves and see, because you have a lot going on, and it's not all just how you look, it's also you have a lot, your accolades are a very long list. So do you feel like it is people that can still see past that, or is it still you're like
Yeah, I have new friends. So I have some friends like that are in the scene for sure, that are still like good men, and they look out and they understand. I feel like that's even the scariest part, is they understand how other men are. So that's why they will drop everything and come ride with me, or come, do something for me, or go pick up money for me sometimes. I've had people like, oh yeah, like, you're going to have to meet up with me. And I'll send one of my guy friends to do it. Like, oh, you thought you were going to get me? No. So there's definitely, some good guys, and I appreciate my friends. And they've even warned me about certain people, like certain producers, like, oh, you're gonna go work with him, well, be careful, because so they're aware of kind of the environment. So, I mean, unfortunately so, but you know, it's nice to have them.
Yeah, and people know, that's what I'm saying. People still talk, and it's, people have different experiences with other people. So people gotta definitely be careful still when you be running in the music scene. Like it's big, but it gets very small when it gets down to when you start to especially work with people who are, starting to work their way up, and you start to work your way up. It still feels like sometimes it's very hard, and having those, like, having you kind of second guess, like, should I do this? Like, should I not? So the last thing that I kind of want to touch on is, like, kind of, when did you feel that you did have to start to put those things in place and put those boundaries in place? Did something, I unfortunately, but if you want to share whatever, it wasn't something you're like, this is it, like, yo, this is the final straw, now I have to put things in place? Like, I know you touched on, like, with recording, but just like in general, the way you run, your shows and things like that, was it anything where you're like, okay, now I'm not doing this anymore, I'm kind of changing my trajectory?
I'll say probably a couple things. So I have to change how I was with the music after like the feature situations.
Yeah.
Like shows, I'll say, like, initially I didn't really have security at my shows. So a lot of my shows, I would make group chats before, and everybody would talk and everybody would be so supportive of each other. When we got there, it was always positive energy. The show that you did, the Icon, I had one security guard there. There was a lot of people there. We had one security guard.
I remember him. Everybody loves him. What's his name?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was the only security guard, and I was like, I hope nothing bad happens because he's the only person here. After that, I did a showcase, or I had a showcase planned. A friend of mine called me. He said he was at a bar, and me and him were not talking at the time. Like, we were not cool. He called me, like, I know we're not talking, but I'm at this bar, and there are some guys in here talking about you. About how, like, you be having money and how you're just a small girl and they gonna come to your next show. He's like, you need to get security.
You're lying.
Where? And I was like, oh, that was the moment where I was like, okay, I have to move different. Like, I gotta watch what I do. I gotta watch what I post. Like, I stopped giving away cash at shows and started doing like Cash App, or like waiting till everybody left to do it. Like, I had to definitely change how I was moving, because I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm this small girl. They're more likely to, try me than they will the men, So I think that was a big moment for me. And I've had security ever since. So,
man, we need to go out and get them. I hope y'all let them handle them brothers. You found out who it was, didn't you? They told you.
I don't know those people.
Oh, you just let them keep it to them. So I would have been like, who are these motherfuckers?
No, I don't think he knew them. They were just like in the bar. He overheard it. Like, when this bar talking about you. Yeah. So that's scary. I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah,
that's enough. When it comes to me and my safety, then that's when that's like too much. So how does your family feel about that? Like, you have a very nice family. You come from a good family. I'm not going to, but how do they feel about you're doing something like she got to go down to Detroit. I'm just saying, sometimes it'd be different places, different venues, different people you got to deal with.
Yeah.
How does your family feel about you and what you're doing? I know they love you and what you're doing, but how do they worry about you? Or
safety wise, they don't like it at all. So like my mom, she doesn't like it. Like, she asked me to stop raising how much money I was giving away a long time ago. I think stop doing that. That's too much. So then when I did the 2,000, she's like, you're doing too much. So I think the last time we argued about it was my last $3,000 show.
Yeah, and those are big money shows. Yeah, that's big money.
So she was like not happy. She's like, how much are you gonna do? Like, when are you gonna stop? And she's like, it's not safe. I was doing a lot of back-to-back shows, and she was asking me to like slow down and do like one a month, or if I could stop doing them in the city. So it's I definitely get some pushback on that.
Yeah. It's hard, and it'd be the give and take. We're not gonna have something out on Hall Road to 20 miles. So
it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like, if you're gonna do the scene, it kind of like Michigan is kind of set up. Yeah, you gotta maneuver.
Mm-hmm. And then even with the money stuff, like her wanting me to give away less, I'm like, that's my brand. Like, I have to keep giving away more. If I don't, then what am I?
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You like, it'll be $300. Everybody's like, all right, it's like,
it wouldn't be me. So, and then for me to stay at 1,000 forever, that wouldn't show growth. So it's not,
It's a give and take, and that goes to show that's what you study, that's what you know. That's you still went to school. You graduated. What did you get your degree in at school?
Marketing.
See, that's what I'm saying. This you know how to, especially when you do like entertainment or you like study it. Like I may not be acting right now, but I'm like the takeaways and things that you get from marketing, doing entertainment, being able to like learn about people, sponsorships. Like you said, like you're looking stagnant if you stay at one part, but then you got to keep up in the ante. So it's like those things you still go to school for. You went through hell for to still learn how to act, really like to the book. When you really study something in an art form, no matter what it is like that's still a lot of time that you've taken and it becomes a part of you. But a lot of people are out here unprofessional. A lot of people will be hard to deal with, hard to work with, and it's almost like they don't almost appreciate you when you are one of those stars and those people who aren't giving out no BS.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that is oof. All right. So y'all, we're starting to get towards our conversation. This is going so well. Like I'm so happy we had this conversation, and I promise you I didn't even know like an ounce of, but something it was the Lord brought to me. I'm like I want to have this conversation. I'm like I should have this conversation with her because I always be like, "Damn, how is she doing this?" I'm like, "How's she dealing with all these?" Oh my Lord.
Okay, cuz they be stressing me sometimes.
Yes.
I gotta love them.
You gotta love it, but it's still fun. Now, but I'm saying, y'all, the shows are fun. It's still a good time. I had so much fun. People love it. People don't want to leave. So it's not about, it'd be the background, putting the things together, but the outpour and just seeing how you've grown and you're with your followers and your people. Like you've even from since I've met you, like what it's going probably like 2 years now, year and a half, year and some change, 2 years probably. It's skyrocketed. So, your work is it's definitely being shown and, you definitely know the ways and the ropes and, how those things. So I want to say to you that I admire that so much really about what you're doing. And we have to still, say those things because we don't hear it a lot. We work, but, it's still nice to acknowledge that. So I wanted to say that to you as well before we wrap up.
Yeah.
So now.
I agree with that too. Sometimes you work so much you don't necessarily see it. Like what you're doing. That makes sense?
Yep.
Your head's in the dirt. So I appreciate
Yep. You don't. So then you look at the trajectory, you're like, okay, I got an email and it was like, I did 100 videos on YouTube. I'm like, well, goddamn, I've been doing it since December. I'm like, I would hope so if I'm going to take something serious, So it's like seeing just like those small things are, and also like peers don't congratulate. Peers have issues. Peers have, people be hating. So it's a lot of things. So you can do great. Everyone can be looking this and the third, and it may seem as if no one's watching, but everyone is. So, it's very hard being a woman, especially when you have women who have hatred against a lot of women, which is a whole conversation of hating within itself.
Yeah. That's a whole different thing.
I'll bring you on for that because I already know that. Yeah. Okay. So
a lot of us, we should at least like each other.
Yeah, so many. And now that it's so many spaces that it's still more ways than one, it's better for us to work together. And then you have men as well, where it's like, they feel some type of way. I know you have some men hating on you or, trying to take credit for different things. It'd be all types of stuff. So final reflections. Is it anything that for people who are, sitting there like, I want to get into this industry, like I do entertainment, like I want to put on like my different shows or, I want to start to connect with other people, network, what would you give of like takeaways of like advice for someone who, is marketing right now in school and, trying to figure out what they want to do and get into the industry?
Yeah, I would say like Nike, just do it. I think that I spent a lot of time wanting to do what I'm doing now, but I was afraid to do it. And I'll say the first like big money show I did, I was like, oh, I'm just going to give away $200. And I was like, I had somebody making my flyers at the time. So I said 200. Then I texted him again, like, make it 3. Then I was like, make it 5. Then I was like, make it 750. He's like, you sure? I'm like, I guess so, and I stopped there. But it was a moment where I was like, I really want to do this, but I'm so afraid to do it. And I don't know anybody else doing it. I haven't seen it done. And maybe there's some weakness in myself because I'm looking up to men that are doing shows and they've never done it. So I'm like, can I do it? Maybe I can't. I think the most important thing is to work outside of your confidence because you might not be confident. You might be insecure. You should just do it anyways. I think that's the best advice I can get to anybody. No matter how you feel about yourself or what you're doing, do it anyways.
just get over that hump and that hurdle. It's always just like posting that first picture. You want to do TikTok, making that first TikTok, YouTube, making that first video, making that first song, writing that first verse, doing that first feature, and when you said something about, looking up to men in spaces, that's one thing. That's what I'm saying. It's not that I'm a man hater. When a man is together, they have, especially like now, the wave of like, awareness between like Black men podcasts, like all types of things like that. Like the awareness of us and our culture is still changing. So it's like, it's a lot of successful men that I look up to, because it's not women to look up to necessarily in these spaces, or it's only a few. But when you said that, I'm like, yeah, I look up to a lot of men, who do things, or have good shows together, good production, like different things like that. So that is something that's interesting that you said, because that's so true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's so true.
And there's nothing wrong with looking up to them, but I can't, like, I think my problem is that I made my limits their limits.
Exactly.
They haven't done this. I don't know what this looks like. And I had to be my own pioneer. Mm-hmm. So it was not like I had like a path to follow. Like, oh, well, I could do it this way. I didn't know what to do.
It's going to look different. It's going to look different.
Exactly.
Because if you're a man doing a showcase or whatever, it will be completely different. The reception will be different. Unfortunately, still a lot of other barriers and things that we have to take on that they just have as in privileges of just, being a man in male dominated, industry.
I believe that if a man was doing what I was doing, it would be bigger. There would be more people coming. I wouldn't get as many complaints. It would be more popular. Like, I feel like, as well as I will say that I watch men team up and do shows all the time. I watch them link up and do stuff all the time for, each other to, benefit. Mm-hmm. See that, with the women. I don't, and not even between women, but men aren't hitting me up. Others
to collaborate.
Not hitting me up. So even when, like you say, like, like you have these accolades, the men don't even see me. I'm like a non-factor. So I feel like, again, if I was a dude, it'd be a totally different ballpark. So.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't even have, just have the experiences within itself. A lot of people have popularity, they have clout. It's just Instagram. It's a lot of other things, and especially when you're doing trying to do your things like organically, and it's like when you do that route, because it like always, I know for myself, like it's always like tempting to like you can buy subscribes, you can do whatever, but still when it comes down to it, like you still want to have your like fan base and your basis of people who are really going to be there with you, and it's still nice to see actual people still doing this. So to wrap it, what do you have going now? What are your adventures that you're taking on? What is next for you?
Well, I have a show coming up in April. $2,000 this time, just to bring it back, so you're back on the money. And I'm dropping a project in June. So honestly, this year, like how I said, work outside of your confidence level. I've done that with shows. I'm trying to do that with music now. I have a lot of struggles with like putting music out, just like being confident about like the work that I'm doing. But this year we're just doing it. We're just doing everything. So
I love it.
Lots of music, lots of shows, lots of money.
Let's do it. I'll send you a verse. I'll record and I'll send you a verse. I got you. I promise. I won't touch up on you. I got you. I'll be respectful. I love that, y'all. So, y'all, this has been our Diva Dive with Miss Queen MaShae. If y'all want to go ahead and check out all of her beautiful things she has, I put her Instagram scrolling down here at the bottom, and I'm going to have it on the description as well. If you are in the Detroit area, make sure y'all hit her up. If you are an artist or you want anything featured, she does a lot. You do promos. What else do you do on your Instagram page? What else can people do?
I would do promos. I make cover art. I make like promotional videos. But I guess that's probably most of it.
Yeah. So anything you need influencing wise, anything that you need for her to push, she definitely has a lot of people, a lot of men's as well, they will come out and check out. That's just to say it, that is wild. I think that's like the highest that I've seen. It's like on top of like being cute and having sex appeal and then like doing music and rap in the city, of course, it's like all guys. So
yeah. Oh man.
Oh man. I love this. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I'm excited for us to collaborate more. I'm so excited to like be able to like get off the horse. It's so hard to, to do things, and I'm happy that I did let this idea come to fruition and I wasn't like hesitant. I'm happy that I just went forward to ask you. I'm sure you're like, it's not a big deal. I would have done it. But
Yeah.
still it's hard for us to still get out and like, take the
Yeah.
push and the breath to like do things, especially in these spaces and it being COVID and all that. So I wanted to say I appreciate you again. And this is Diva Dive, y'all. And I will see you guys next week.